Hey everyone, we're just going to give everybody a couple seconds here to get logged in and then we'll get going. Awesome. We've got a lot of folks filing in. All right, well, I'll go ahead and get us started so we can get our intros out of the way and the good content going. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle Partner Viscosity North America. We've got Oracle ACE Director Peter Koletzke with us today, and he's presenting Getting to Know You, Visual Builder and Oracle Redwood. This is a live webinar, so feel free to submit questions in the Q&A field, not the generic chat prompt, but the Q&A, and that will pop up on the speaker's screen as he goes. So if you want to ask questions, he'll get to them when he can. If not during, then after. But I think Peter's pretty good about fielding out questions as he's presenting. So take advantage of the hour with him. And yeah, if you have any questions afterwards that you think about, shoot them our way to either NYOUG or Viscosity, and we'll make sure Peter gets your contact information and can help you out with any other questions you had. Since it is a live webinar, it is recorded, and you will have access to the recording as well as any resources Peter wants to share with you guys, whether it's a slide deck or anything else. We'll have that posted, and New York Oracle User Group and Viscosity both will be sharing that out. So just be on the lookout for that, probably sometime tomorrow, sometimes up to 48 hours. Just be patient with us, and I promise we'll get it to you. All right, so my name is Monica Lee. I'm the marketing director for Viscosity. With me today, co-hosting are NYOUG board members Coleman Leviter and Rob Edwards. Rob is going to tell us a little bit about NYOUG, and then I'll quickly introduce you to Viscosity, and we'll get going. So Rob, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Monica, I'm Rob Edwards. I'm treasurer of NYOUG. NYOUG was formed in 1984 for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. We can be found on Twitter, Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on our own website, nyoug.org. And we'd like to thank again Viscosity North America for co-hosting these webinars with us for the last 3 years. Monica?
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you, Coleman, both of you, for your continued partnership. I will, as always, try to make this quick because I know we've got a lot of regulars, but a few of you who may be new. I work for Viscosity. We are a full Oracle stack consulting firm with a mission to enable business transformation at a time when companies must change to survive. So what does that mean? Lots of pivoting right now, right? Whether you're upgrading your Oracle databases to 19C, prepping for 23C, maybe you're moving to the cloud, maybe you've got a lot of database migrations. Viscosity has a core expertise in Oracle database, and that includes RAC, Oracle Apex. We perform near zero downtime migrations for our customers, lots of performance tuning and high availability projects. And we've also had decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems. So real quick, this is the 3 pillars that Viscosity is kind of built upon. So this is where we get the most consulting projects, and across the bottom, you'll see a bunch of things that will relate to all 3 tiers. This slide just shows some of our consultants and our executive management that are part of the Oracle ACE program. If you're not familiar with it, the Oracle ACE program, it's in tiers itself. So like Peter, he's on the top tier, Oracle ACE Director. There's ACE Pros and ACEs, and you can also be an ACE alumni afterwards. But these folks are awarded these titles from Oracle Corporation for the amount of work they do to help the Oracle community, whether it's speaking, writing, volunteering, all the things above. Coleman's even an Oracle ace for his participation with NYOUG and really getting people involved and keeping everyone, tight within the community. If you're interested in things like this, I would go check out their website where you can see how to apply even for this program, or to even find an Oracle ACE near you if you need consulting. Most of them work in that realm, or I don't even know what all the Oracle ACEs do, but there's likely to be one around you. I think there's only 50 ACE directors in the world, Peter. So congrats on that. Or maybe 50 in the US. I'm not sure, but not very many.
Probably US, yeah.
US, yeah. You
Yeah, it's
guys
in the
are
hundreds
really
now
good.
for worldwide.
Worldwide. Okay, awesome. But yeah, so check out the Oracle ACE program. This slide just shows you some of the books from Viscosity consultants that they've written, either together or with other industry experts. So hopefully you have some of these, but if not, I just want to point out some of our newest ones: Oracle Database Performance Tuning, Upgrading Oracle Databases, and Oracle on Docker. And then finally, orapub.com is now part of the Viscosity family. If you're not familiar with Orapub, it's actually started by an Oracle ACE director who was originally with Oracle Corporation, and it houses tons of resources. We've got free memberships where you can just log in and see and sift through tons of videos, tons of blogs and white papers, things like that. And there's also live training here. There are tiers where I always recommend people to ask their companies if they'd reimburse you for membership fees, because it's very, very affordable for actually getting training. So check it out. This is also where Viscosity posts the webinars and any resources that our speakers give us, and you can access it through a free webinar or free membership, sorry. And again, nyoug.org will have it as well. So www.orapub.com, that's where you'll go to find today's webinar. And if anyone's going to be at Kscope, Peter, are you going to be at Kscope? Yeah,
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
I'll see you there. Viscosity will be there with a booth and sessions. So come find me, say hello. I'd love to see anybody in person. It's been a while, so it'll be great to be back into conference mode. All right, so with that, I think I'm done, and I'm going to hand it over to Rob, who's going to introduce Peter to us. And Peter, I'll let you get your screen share going.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Peter is a Oracle ACE director who has worked for over 39 years in the IT industry, and he has presented at various Oracle technology conferences around the world nearly 400 times. Additionally, he has won over a dozen user group awards from ODTUG, NYOUG, UTOUG, ECO, SEOUC. Peter is also an Oracle Certified Master, UTOUG board member, past board member of IOUG and NYOUG Steering Committee, and co-author of 8 books with Duncan Mills, Avrom Roy-Faderman, Dr. Paul Dorsey, and published by Oracle Press about Oracle JDeveloper, ADF, Oracle Forms and Reports, and Oracle Designer. Over to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Rob. I put this session together because Oracle has a number of development products now, which might look a little daunting as far as what you need to pick to complete your application. And I'm focusing on Visual Builder and then this new effort that's called Oracle Redwood. I'm going to stop my video and start sharing here. Oh, so Rob already read all of this, all the boring details, but there's a picture of the books. JDeveloper 11G was the last one, but it goes back to the designer and developer days as well. But I did want to find out about you. I've got a poll here that I'm going to launch, and just interested in what your experience currently and maybe even in the past for the products here: Visual Builder, Oracle Apex, Java and ADF, Forms, PL/SQL. So we'll let this go for a little while. And if there's something else, just put it in the chat. If there's something that you focused on that's not in the list here. And this can be, again, from the past or current experience. I'll let this go another minute or so. Okay, I'll publish that later. I'll talk about what I'm going to be talking about this morning, which is, first of all, the family, Visual Builder's family. I call it the family because, again, there's a number of products, and they're different focuses, different audiences as far as developers, but they will all basically create applications, and there are things that Oracle is still working to promote and to use, and they're all available for you. So that's the family part. And then focusing on Visual Builder, which is the kind of the newest product, although it's been out for a while, and just how you get started with it. It won't be, you know, heavily into demos. I will be showing some screens, but it's mostly to get you oriented on what Visual Builder is all about, and then give you some resources later on for how you find out more information. And then the same thing for Redwood. What is Redwood, and where do I go for more information? Okay, looks like the poll has kind of completed, and we have 0 for Visual Builder, which I guess is good because you're in the right place. And I can really say anything about it then, and I won't be wrong, but I'll try to be truthful anyway. And then Apex, we have 62% are Apex developers, 15 Java or ADF. Forms, we've got 54% Forms, and 92% PL/SQL. So I guess PL/SQL is the heaviest, and then Apex, and then Forms, and then Java. I'll show you the results here. You can see it live as well. Okay, so this is a kind of good group to talk to, and I'll try to go through the session knowing that that's the idea here. So we start with the family. Here's the family. Aren't they a beautiful family? So Forms is one, ADF, Apex, Jet, and Visual Builder. Those are the 5 that I'm going to focus on, and then do more deep dive on Visual Builder. But I thought it'd be good to just review what each of these are about and what the target audience is in developer world, just so we know where Visual Builder is placed. So Forms, for those who aren't Forms developers, part of Oracle Developer, which is Fusion middleware packaged with Oracle reports, and it's the tool for creating user interfaces. So it uses declarative programming and some PL/SQL scripting to do the work, you know, internally with triggers. The form compiled file FMX is run on a Java servlet, and it displays in a Java applet in the browser or without the browser. So you need to have Java, and you need to have this kind of what they call proprietary, which means it's a compiled file that can't be run outside of the Forms runtime. And no HTML other than the HTML that you're running the form in, if you do have HTML, but you don't need HTML. It's a Java applet. And we're up to, I'm putting the version numbers in the corner, current version numbers, so you can look at those if you need, and then a link for the URL. And as Monica said, these slides will be available and posted later on the New York website, NYOUG.org. So you can get these links later. This is what development experience looks like. So you're looking at an object navigator, which shows you what's in the form, and then you're filling out properties. This is the declarative part of the programming, and then the properties basically designate how the thing will show up. in the visual editor, and when you run it. This is the visual editor and the PL/SQL editor for scripts that you need to write for actions that the user's performing or things in the background. And of course, it always connects to the Oracle database or any other database. So ADF is Oracle's Java tool, and it uses Java. You're writing Java, but you're generating Java XML. It uses the Groovy language for scripting, but you don't really write HTML. It's mostly Java and XML, but it's declarative as well. You'll see the screens in a second. It's used now for the Oracle Cloud applications, and which are also called Fusion applications, running on the WebLogic server, which is a Java runtime server. And it supports most Java frameworks. If you're a Java developer, you can use JDeveloper and ADF to create applications with your favorite framework. But it also has its specific frameworks. So there are ADF frameworks for the visual layer, the database layer, the events layer. It's highly evolved. It's been out for decades now, and it was the subject of 5 of the 8 books that I co-authored. So this is where you go to look for more information. And the development experience is very much like forms, where you've got the structure or the hierarchy window. There's actually 2 windows. There's one for the form and there's one for the files within the application. And the visual editor, the code editor, properties and components. Properties are here. And so when you fill out the properties, you're generating code in this XML window and/or Java code in the background. Generally XML code, and the frameworks will run the application based on the XML. But you can also obviously edit the XML, edit the Java behind the scenes if you need to. Apex, a lot of you are Apex developers, and I put the pronunciation here because it used to be that people were calling it Apex because it's Application Express. Apex is a kind of not really an acronym, but it's a shorthand for Application Express. But for those who don't know, it's a free tool that you get with a database in 11G and beyond, or a separate download if you have database before that, but it's part of the database now. Or you can use the Apex Cloud Service if you're on the cloud. The applications that you write in Apex are done through a browser. You connect to the database PL/SQL through a browser, and you do your development that way. And it generates PL/SQL in the background and runs PL/SQL for runtime that will create the pages, the browser pages. So if you know the PL/SQL web toolkit, it's really a layer on top of that. You're generating the PL/SQL packages that will create the HTML that runs the application. And that's the link to go for more information if you are new to Apex. So Apex screen looks very much like all the other screens. There's a structure window, the visual editor, component palette, code, property palette. And you can go to code view for tweaking the JavaScript if you want to do that as well. But a lot of it's visual and declarative. So this is really a theme now with these tools, right? Forms, ADF, Apex all have the declarative style. The next tool is JavaScript Extension Toolkit, which is, the acronym is JET. So I had to show, well, this isn't really a jet. This is a prop plane. It might be a prop jet, but it just happens to have Oracle on the side of it. But that has nothing to do with JET, the product. JET is pure JavaScript, and you're also using HTML5, CSS, and Sass. But you have to really be heavily into JavaScript. So you have to know these frameworks, Knockout.js, jQuery. CSS3 is is helpful. Require JS. These are things you have to be pretty familiar with when you're doing JavaScript extension toolkit work. But Oracle's used it for many years, and it's actually the heart of the Visual Builder in Oracle Redwood. So this is why it's kind of important. I'm going to spend a couple extra slides on this because it's the heart of all the things that I'm focusing on later. Some URLs to go to look for information. Jet does have kind of a higher level look at an application than you would have with just writing JavaScript code. When you're writing JavaScript code, it's pretty much pure writing, lines of code. But Jet gives you kind of a more, I guess, visual and declarative way of doing it, but you're still pulling out code samples from what you see in the visual place and into your application. You can use it to write mobile or web applications. Really, any web server, doesn't matter. JavaScript is pretty agnostic as far as which servers you're running, which kind of products you're running there on the application level. There are lots of rich components built in, which is helpful because you don't have to write a lot of stuff on your own or find frameworks that will do it for you. The other good thing, which I didn't mention, is that it's an Oracle product. So you have Oracle support behind it. If there's a problem, you can go back to Oracle support, try to work it out. However, when you're using Jet, the upgrades to the underlying frameworks may require you to recode your application if you upgrade. So you have to be careful of that Jet is using these underlying frameworks like Knockout.js. So there's no automatic migration of code. ADF has that. When you're going from one version to another, you can migrate pretty easily. And like I said, it's the heart of Visual Builder and Redwood. So the Jet cookbook is where you start working with Jet. At least that's where I would start. Some people can jump in and look at the language and say, well, this is what I need to do. I'm just going to plop this into my application. But the visual samples are helpful. I'll show you a screenshot in a second. And what it does is it lets you generate a snippet that you can copy into your application HTML and your application JavaScript. And it also gives you notes on how to use that particular thing. Like if you wanted to draw an HTML table with data, there's a visual sample of that and the Jet code that you would need to do that. And then you can make changes to that sample in the cookbook, and then it will change the sample snippet that you plop into your application. It also generates TypeScript code if you use that type of framework and the relevant HTML. So it's useful if you're doing just plain old JavaScript work, but it's also useful when you're doing Visual Builder if you need to add custom code to your Visual Builder application. So this is an example of the cookbook page for a table, and you see the sample of the table up above, and then you see down below what HTML would be used, and then each of these tabs down below, the TypeScript and the CSS and the JavaScript tabs will contain the code that you would need to add to your application. So it's a very powerful tool for that type of code, particularly because you can see the application running, or the piece of component that you're working with running live. Okay, so who are these designed for, or who are the target audiences of these products? Forms, I say legacy Forms developers. So if you're supporting Forms apps, this is the product that you want to keep working on. There's no planned de-support that I've seen for Forms at this point. There's not a lot of new features coming out, but they do maintain it, they do support it, and there's no sunset that I've seen. Oracle ADF is meant for Java developers, but if you're a Forms developer and your shop is going to Java, it's a logical choice because it has the declarative style and visual style that you're kind of used to in Forms. And actually it was developed for Oracle's Forms developers, application developers. Apex is, I say, for Forms developers again. So if you're a Forms developer and your shop is moving to a different, like lighter web-based product, the Apex is a good choice. And PL SQL developers, it's a natural kind of choice because it uses PL SQL under the covers anyway. JET is meant for JavaScript developers, but it also can be used by ADF Forms or Apex developers that have a little bit of training in JavaScript, because it's got that visual and declarative method for creating code. Oh, we did this one already. All right, so this is, I guess, a different version of that slide. Let's see if there's any questions, because we're kind of at the end of that particular section. Not yet. Okay, so everybody's clear on the family. All right, so now we talk about the last member of the family that I'm focusing on, which is Visual Builder. And how do we think about it, and how do we understand it, since we don't maybe know about it yet? So Visual Builder, formerly called Application Builder Cloud Service, and they changed the name because there was an ABCS product that was Oracle product that wasn't that, I guess, is one of the reasons. It's also Visual Builder Cloud Service was another name for it. I call it JDeveloper on the cloud because I know JDeveloper pretty well, and I see a lot of the same things in both of them. So I'm calling it JDeveloper on the cloud, but it really is a visual and declarative way to create a JavaScript application, which JDeveloper was the same thing for Java code. So you can develop web and progressive web apps. Progressive web apps means they'll run on a mobile device easily, and there's no transition between those two. You basically create one set of code and it'll work in both environments. There's also Visual Builder Studio, which is Visual Builder integrated with the Developer Studio for DevOps. The Developer Studio for DevOps really is now Visual Builder Studio, if you know that product. It's the continuous integration, continuous deployment tool where you're doing the full life cycle for development. You're doing coding, you're doing code reviews, versioning, merges, migrations, integration, branching, everything that you would do with a source control system, but also code reviews and deployment. So really the full cycle of development and ops, it's a full DevOps tool. That's Visual Builder Studio. It includes Visual Builder as well as the development part of that. It was originally developed for non-programmers. This is interesting. The application builder was targeted at non-programmers, but now it's really targeted at professional developers, because there is some script, some JavaScript, and JavaScript is available behind the scenes, and it's pretty detailed. You really need to be a developer to get a serious application out of it. You can do fairly standard things like insert, update, delete type applications pretty quickly, and it might be that a non-programmer could handle that still. But it's really any discipline. So Forms, Apex, ADF, JET, all those developers can be very productive with this product. It generates code. It's mainly JavaScript code that you're working with, and data is supplied as a REST service, representational state transfer, which is a web service where you're putting a request out in an XML type format or JSON format and getting an answer back. So instead of connecting to a database, you're issuing a REST call. And you're doing development like in Apex with a web page. So there's no installation for your developers on their own systems. It's all done through a web browser. And then app is published to the web, or it becomes a PWA, progressive web app. Pricing, you'd be interested in. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe somebody else in your organization does pricing, but this is they do it by Oracle CPU usage, and this is the current screenshot from that link below of what their price is, which it turns out to be not that much, really. You know, if you ask me, for a development product. How you get to it is either with a cloud account or a SaaS account. So cloud account, you can use the always free account, which is there and it gives you access to everything for the $300 trial credits, but it does need the software as a service features. So the $300 will be kind of eaten up at some point, and then you have to go to a paid account. Always free is always free for a certain number of things in the Oracle Cloud, and you don't have to pay, you know, even beyond the 300 trial credits. But for this particular thing, it's part of SaaS, and it does use up some of those trial credits. So if you do have a software as a service account, then it's in the Fusion Apps test instance, but you're limited to software as a service data, whatever module you're using or modules, but you can also hook in sources that don't need authentication, like the OAuth type sources. Chrome browser at the moment is the only browser supported for development, but that seems to be available in all, you know, all categories. So it shouldn't be a limitation. It's just you have to remember that it's Chrome that you have to go into when you're doing development. But any browser will work for runtime. So data sources, again, it's usually REST, but so the first one is you can select from the catalog, which is the Oracle Cloud Applications, Oracle Integration Instance endpoints. And the next one, defined by specification, is for a Swagger or Oracle ADF file that has a service at the back of it, or an endpoint, which, you know, is just a, let's see if I can get this line out of the way. There we go. Yeah, external REST point URL. You can import data, test data from a file, which is useful for development purposes. If you've got like a spreadsheet or something, you can just import data from that, which is something that Apex can do. Apex developers are aware of that one too. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're doing development work in Visual Builder. And you'll notice pretty much almost everything that we've been seeing with the other visual builders, with the other development tools. We've got the component palette. Data sources is different. We don't really have that so much in the other ones, except Apex has it. Structure window, which appears in a lot of them. Visual editor and property palette for whatever you've clicked on to set properties. And then behind the scenes, you're writing JavaScript code, which ends up in a code tab that you can get to. If you want to just change the code, you can do it that way too. And there's a live view and a design view. So you can run it as it would be run without going outside and like deploying it, or just look at it in a design mode. You also can see what happens or how page flow works. So each of these happens to be a page in the application, and it's showing what links there are between the pages. So the main employees would call these other 3 pages, and this page would call these 2 pages. So you define this, you know, with a kind of a diagram view, and it also displays this if you have defined the links between pages. The diagram would automatically update. And I was going to do a demo on that, which is really just showing that the session has expired. So this is just to demonstrate that there is a timeout feature, and that timed out too. So I guess this is good. You know, you have that in most of the applications these days. When you're starting working on Visual Builder, you start on some launch page for the software as a services after you've logged in, and in the menu, Visual Builder is available under the configuration, because it's meant to provide extensions to Oracle applications. You can use it for custom applications as well, but it's there for it was built mostly for the development of application extensions. So we're kind of configuring, I guess, configuring the extension. Visual Builder is one of the options for that kind of configuration. And that'll load your Visual Builder Studio, which has all the links for different operations within, your DevOps. I've already created a workspace here. There's a question. Are you sharing your screen? Oh, I thought I was. Monica, Robert, Coleman, do you see my browser here?
I do, but it's
It's
when we
blank.
tested it and it had that slow transition, it looks like it's just stuck there.
I see.
Yeah, we just basically see.
Just see a gray screen there, Peter.
You see a gray screen.
Yes.
I wonder why that would be.
You can still see your cursor moving around, so
Huh.
maybe just stop sharing and reshare.
I'll try a new share. Okay.
Yeah, I think it gets stuck during one of those transitions.
It got stuck because I confused it. It's because of the timeout. We'll blame it on Oracle. Okay, let's try resharing. Okay, so are we seeing the browser yet?
You're seeing the organization name, intercompany.
Oh, okay.
JD.
Okay, thank you. All right, good. All right, well, thank you for that question. I'm glad that you mentioned that there was a problem there. All right, so yes, we're looking at an application that I created. This is just a demo application, and it has 3 pages. We're looking at the start page here, but the diagram that I was talking about for the pages is here. So there's 3 pages. One calls the other 2. And when you're working with this page, you can use the visual editor to modify the components. So for example, if I click on the search bar, the properties for that search bar appear here. This is again like Forms, Apex, and ADF. And then the hierarchy of the components within the page appear here. So you can select one of these and it'll show the properties for that. And then every time you do something here, it changes the code in the code view. And then if you wanted to add a page, we can drag a page from the component palette and we'll call it demo. And then we open that one in the visual editor. And we can go back into design. So it starts as an empty page, but we can add components from the component palette. Let's see if we have a search. Yeah, input search. All right. But the first thing is to pick a page template. And there's a number of templates that you can use. Let's say we just want a welcome page. So what you get when you drop that on the screen is behind the scenes in the code view, you're just seeing this one link. I can zoom in. So this is the code that was generated when I added that template, OJSP welcome page. So that means that there's a component. OJ is the prefix. OJSP is a prefix for JET components. So there's a JET component that is this welcome page, which basically has features that show like a logo and has a title option and certain events and things. So there's a bunch of functionality with that component that's already embedded when you drop in that template. And then you can drop in components from there and say we want to put in the search slot. And then this component again adds to the code the OJ input search. Oh, and it gives you a little hint about what it's about. But again, a lot of functionality within that one component is already built into the JET component. There's the data tab, and I've already linked in one of the REST services from my SaaS account. And there's an accounts object. And I can drop that in. If I create a container here, I can drop that in and use that in the application as well. So you can kind of see the main actions that you'd be doing. Mostly not writing code, mostly dealing with the visual editor, component palette, and property palette. I'm seeing a couple questions. Is Visual Builder Studio available for on-premise deployments, or is it only available for Oracle Cloud services? Visual Builder Studio is a cloud product. So on-premise, you would have to have, you could have, I think there's still an option to deploy cloud on-premise, but there's no like local runtime that you can use. It has to be in a cloud. Visual Builder Studio has to be in a cloud. Usually Oracle's cloud, but it could be Oracle's cloud is on-premise, if that makes sense. I have a feeling there's not a lot of people. I think there was a poll done. There's not too many people that are doing on-premise cloud from Oracle, at least. Hopefully that answers the question. It may not be the answer that you wanted, but it is an answer. Okay, so this was just kind of a quick view of the development environment. You know what you would be doing. Let me see if I can run this application. I think it's going to try to run that first page, which is not useful. Yeah, okay, we don't want that. Let's go back to this one. I don't know. Please tell me if this doesn't work. If you're not seeing, hang on, we have to get back to start. If we're going to gray screens at some point, I may have to reinitialize. So I'll do a second plug for Kscope, which is the Oracle Development Tools User Group ODTUG conference in June, towards the end of this month. So this is the application, and it has a search bar up here, which required very little programming. It was mostly defining the data source and what kind of options you use. So you can do a search on the organization name, and then you can edit that organization, in a separate screen, and save it, and it goes back to the main screen. And then there's an info screen just to give more detail about that organization. It's not, very sophisticated application, but for if you're coming to the conference, the Kscope conference, this is one of the hands-on labs that will be done on Thursday. I'll be there with Blaine Carter doing kind of showing how to create this application. and you get some hands-on with Visual Builder. So again, this is the page flow diagram. Okay, I'm going back to slides. Hopefully you'll see slides now. Let me know if you don't. So that's kind of the quick view of Visual Builder. So what is Redwood, Oracle Redwood? Okay, now I'm switching my slides template into a Redwood theme because Oracle's Redwood is includes different themes, different way of viewing applications. It was premiered in Oracle 2019 at Oracle Open World, and you noticed at that point I think it was September, October that year, 2019. The website oracle.com already had a facelift. It basically, the red and black theme went away, and now we have this kind of organic African, Asian, Aboriginal art inspired theme. So this kind of what we got in 2019 was the theme change, and we also got that they were going to be working, or they were working on this effort called Oracle Redwood, which was to be a redesign of how people worked with applications. Then last year at Oracle Cloud World, which was the new name for Oracle Open World, we got a lot more detail about this, and the website increased in content quite a bit, and we got a better picture of this. Also, we saw pieces in the product that were Oracle Redwood inspired. So relevant history are these two links, but it's not very much. It's really what we got in 2019, which is very little. So I'm going to read this quote from the Oracle website. It was based on, first of all, user experience testing, and it's an intelligent search, self-learning recommendation engine for incorporating business objects, a conversational engine for voice interfaces, and telemetry services that deliver real-time feedback on application performance and integrity. That's kind of a mouthful, but what it means is that they're looking at kind of a completely new way for users to interact with their applications. So they're using this now to build the Oracle Cloud or Fusion applications, and also to extend them, but you can also use it to build your own apps. So like Visual Builder was built for Oracle applications, cloud applications, the Oracle Redwood is the same thing. But for both, you can use both of these for your own custom applications that are not Oracle application extensions. So what this consists of are building blocks, user experience building blocks in Visual Builder. So there's 90 plus JET components already. And again, JET components it can be used for any type of applications. There's 80 composite components, which are multiple components put together as a named thing, like that little search bar that I showed had a little question mark icon and some properties built behind it. So that would be a composite. There are also 40 plus page patterns, which are like templates, which include the components and composites. So they have both components and composites built, and it's basically a quick start page for doing a particular type of thing, like an edit page. We'll always have certain features, and those will be built into this template. And there's lots of information available now about all those in Visual Builder. So you go in and look at the object component or page pattern or composite, and you'll get an info page about it. Redwood's also going to be available in Apex, actually in 20.1 and beyond. The UI in the app builder is aligned with Redwood, and there's a Redwood Light theme that you can use that'll give you these these kind of colors and fonts in 20.2, and then the app builder will have the app builder itself will have a Redwood theme soon, I've been told. I'm not expert or into Apex very much, but this is I've got from the product managers. So this is, I'm going to show you some screens that we saw in one of our ACE briefings from one of the Oracle product managers that showed some of the application screens that were developed with Redwood patterns and designs. So this is just a summary, kind of a dashboard page, and then kind of I'm going to say spreadsheet, but it's more like a task page, spreadsheet type page. This is more like a wizard where you can go to different tabs and go to, you know, different steps along the way for doing some kind of data entry. And this is just a larger view of that wizard. And then a confirmation page. You know, it's a little bit more than just the dialog box with the OK and cancel button on it. So how do you find out more about this? There's a website, which is redwood.oracle.com. They call it ROC, R-O-C rather. And this is what I'm going to show you next. Let's see if there's any other questions. No, okay. I think we still have people there. All right, we're going to try to go to Redwood. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this one is not hiding. Hopefully you're able to see this. So this is the main page, redwood.oracle.com. And notice they have a little bar at the top that says looking for the menu, because a menu is not necessarily a thing that they're going to carry forward with the applications. When you click on that, instead of getting the menu, it explains why they don't, or what to do instead of doing the menu, which is you click this Oracle icon, Ask Oracle icon button, and then you ask it a question like, let's see if it knows about Redwood themes. We couldn't find any matches. So Redwood page resolutions and margins. And it found that it did some automatic fill-in, as you may or may not have noticed. Maybe it went out too fast for Zoom to catch up. But this gives you what they've figured out for resolutions and page types, and details on margins and things like that. So they've done extensive testing and research on what works best for their applications and what they're advising you to do for different things. So this is a good website to go to dig into things like the Redwood philosophy, which really is that they're making the user experience more organic and not more, I want to say more intuitive. Intuitive is a word that we've been using for decades, and we're striving towards that in all our applications, but it really is kind of the goal of Redwood as well. So it's to make the user experience easier for what you're doing in all your business applications, really, is what this is. So in Visual Builder, there's a Redwood Starter app template, which has Redwood components, and then you actually start your application using that template, and then everything that you get within the Visual Builder environment for that will be using Redwood. There's also a Redwood reference app, which you can generate on your own, and it basically becomes your app, and you can explore it and see how that how the application works kind of from a user standpoint. And then that's what you basically get your own link. I think I've got that one. I have a slide for that. Yeah, here it is. So this is the Redwood reference app that you get when you run that link. And then you can explore how the navigation works to all of these data elements, and then see how a user would be working kind of within a Redwood environment. We'll call it an environment. In Visual Builder, you can get Redwood components in the component exchange. All right, let me see if I can get to that without losing the view. Okay, so please tell me if you don't see anything here. I'm going to go to my main start page, back to components, design, and you'll see these Redwood patterns. So I'm searching for Redwood, and I get the components that have already been created that are Redwood based. I'm going to get rid of this panel here. So all of the, I'm going to go back, going to go back to my demo page and then search for Redwood again. Oh, they're there. Okay. So everything that we're seeing under Redwood patterns are things that they've created that are available to the page that are Redwood theme types. So we've got, let's see if I can drag one of these things in. I may not be able to in this particular. And I can put it in the search task card. Put search. Yeah, I need to put some containers in, which I'm not going to spend time doing now. But the idea is that these components are available to the application, and they give you all the functionality that they've been designed into them. So the slide shows it better, actually. This is the advanced create and edit page template, and then that gives you a whole bunch of features built into it without having to drag a lot of different components in. Okay, so we're almost out of time here. I'm going to go quickly through the resources. Live Labs, there's some demos that you can run and actually get hands-on with the Visual Builder and how Redwood works. So you can search for those in Live Labs. Community and Customer Connect Forum are how you can connect to other users and to Oracle. Blogs, of course, Shai Smeltzer has extensive blog entries for different Visual Builder things. Redwood, redwood.oracle.com, and the docs. Visual Builder has its own. Oh, these are the 5 that I found lately for Visual Builder and Redwood. So if you go out to Live Labs and just search for Visual Builder or for Redwood, you can do tutorials on creating applications, and they're pretty easy and quick to do. So this is the other thing that we're doing at Kscope, is we're doing one of the Live Labs. Ask Tom, almost monthly, they're doing office hours. Shai and other people on his team. Info on Visual Builder. So summary is that Oracle's current toolset has specific audiences. The family, Visual Builder's family, has specific developers that it's targeting. Visual Builder is a declarative and visual way to add sophisticated application features to your JavaScript app. And it gives you access to CI/CD functions in Visual Builder Studio. And you may or may not use them, but you can at least create the application using Visual Builder in Visual Builder Studio. And then Redwood gives you templates and high-level composite components that gives you a whole bunch of functionality that have kind of, with the user experience, that's been pre-tested and supported. And it's much more productive than rolling your own JavaScript, which, you know, if you're a JavaScript application developer, you know it's, you probably like to write code, but those who are not JavaScript developers like the declarative approach, and you can be more productive with it even as a JavaScript developer. So one more slide about Kscope 23. And again, we're doing this hands-on session with Visual Builder on the Thursday of that week. And thank you for attending. I'll see if there's any questions, but I think there are no questions. Ooh, I stopped the slide when I looked at questions. And the slides, as Monica said in the video, will be at nyoug.org at some point soon. 48 hours, I think, was the promise.
Hopefully within 48 hours.
Right.
We've been moving.
We'll say
fast these
hopefully.
days.
Oh, sorry, there is a question. Sorry, one more. There is a question. What do you see as the best use cases of Visual Builder over Apex? I think it's going to be, I'm going to focus on the Oracle applications as the answer to that. If you're doing Oracle applications, particularly cloud applications and Fusion applications, they are now implemented and being rewritten or written in Jet and JavaScript. So Visual Builder would be the key for that. Apex would be good for custom applications. Visual Builder is also good for custom applications. And I think the difference would be, what is your development team, I guess, comfortable with? And will they need to support Oracle applications in the future? If so, then Visual Builder is probably the choice. Okay, hopefully that is answered that question. If not, please ask again. But maybe we start the wrap up because we're getting close to, we are over the time period.
Yes, so if you guys do come up with any questions while we kind of close out here, go ahead and throw them in. Thank you guys so much for attending. Peter, thank you so much for this hour. We love having you present for us, and we haven't had you back here presenting for NYOUG and viscosity for a while. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Happy to do it.
Thank you, Peter.
All right.
Thank you, Peter.
Yep, and like everybody said, guys, just be on the lookout for an email from either NYOUG or Viscosity. We'll send you all the links on how to access everything you need to revisit today's presentation. And otherwise, be on the lookout for more NYOUG Viscosity webinars. We've been having great luck getting, a lot of great speakers back out to present for us. And we've got more in the pipeline, right, Coleman?
Absolutely. There's more on the way.
Yes, so we hope to see you guys back here for another webinar. Till then, I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you. Thank you again, Peter.